minus n. That is just the general function. Now let us find the derivative of this function. That is f of xn dash. The derivative of our function will be equals to, that is 2xn. That is 2xn. Now using, here we just say using Newton's Raphson method. Now the method states that xn plus 1 is equal to xn minus f of xn over f of xn dash. That is Newton-Raphson method. Now xn plus 1 will be equals to xn minus, now f of xn is our function, this one, that is bracket of xn squared minus n over, now here we have the derivative of our function, which is 2xn. Now let us find the LCM. So the LCM, we have xn plus 1 is equal to, so the LCM, the lowest common multiple, will be equals to 2xn. Now 2xn divided by 1 times xn, we are going to have 2xn squared minus, so again we take 2xn divided by 2xn, that is 1. So we are going to remain with xn squared minus n. Now it is time to open up the brackets. So we are going to have 2xn squared. So here we have negative times xn squared will be minus xn squared. Then again we have negative times negative. We are going to have positive n over 2xn. So xn plus 1 will be equals to, so here we have 2xn squared minus xn squared. So we are going to remain with xn squared. And then we have plus n. So here plus n over, so again we have 2xn. So here we divide by 2xn. In that case, this can be written as xn squared over 2xn plus n over 2xn. So we are going to remain with, that is xn over 2 plus n over 2xn. So in the denominator we have 2, that is common. So we are going to have 1 over 2 bracket of, that is xn plus n over xn. Now therefore we say xn plus 1 is equal to 1 over 2 bracket of xn plus n over xn. So this is the general formula for finding the square root of a positive real number. So you can say this one is the general formula for finding the square root of positive real numbers. Okay. Now, my dear students, let us see how we can apply our general formula by the review question 1. We have the review question 1. The question says, find the square root of 10 given that x1 is equal to 3. Use 2 iterations only, but our answers to 3 decimal places. Now that is our question, where we are going to apply our general formula of finding the square root of a positive number. Review question. We have been given, we have the root of 10, that means n is equal to 10. But again we have x1 which is equal to 3. So x1 is equal to 3. So remember our general formula says xn plus 1 is equal to a half bracket of, we have xn plus n over xn. Now that is our general formula. So for first iteration, we say n is equal to 1. Keep n is equal to 1. So if x is equal to 1, that is 1 plus 1, we are going to have x2 is equal to a half. Then again, here we have xn. Remember, n is 1, so we are going to have x1 plus, again we have n over, here is xn, our n is 1, so that is x1. So we can substitute values for x1 and n. So here we are going to have a half bracket of the value of x1, that is equal to 3. So here we have 3 plus, then value of n, that is 10. So we have 10 over, again is 3. So my dear student, you can use your scientific calculator to find x2. So just take your scientific calculator to get the value of x2. This is x2. So we have x2. So we are going to have this answer 3.167. Remember, question says to 3 decimal places. So make sure that you maintain the number of decimal places. That is to 3 decimal place. So again we continue because they said use 2 iterations only. So we continue for the second iteration. So for the second iteration, that is for second iteration. This time we say n is equal to 2. N is equal to 2. Remember, for the first iteration, n was 1. So this time we have n is equal to 2. So we substitute 2 in our general formula. So that is n plus 1. Our n is 2. So it is 2 plus 1. We are going to have x3, which is equal to, again we have a half. That is a half bracket of, then in the bracket we have xn. Our n is 2. So that is x2 plus n over x2. That is our general formula for the second iteration. So x2, it is this one. We have x2. So x3 will be equals to a half bracket of, now x2, we have 3.167 plus, so our n remain the same, that is 10. So it is 10 over 3.167. Now, my dear student, you can use your calculator to find x3. So our approximation will be equals to, this time we have 3.162. Again, remember to maintain the number of decimal places. That is to 3 decimal places. So our answers always must be to 3 decimal places. Now that is the end of our solution, because the question said just use 2 iterations. So that is the end of the solution. My dear student, let us proceed the second part, that is finding the reciprocal of a positive real number. So that is another application of Newton-Raphson method. Now let x is equal to 1 over n. N is our positive real number. So this one can be also written as 1 over x is equal to n. So vice versa is true. Now let us shift this real number to our left hand side. So we are going to have 1 over x minus n is equal to 0. Now again, call this is our function. That is, let f of x is equal to 1 over x minus n. That is your function. But in general, we can write this as, that is, in general, can say that is f of xn is equal to 1 over xn minus n. So this is our general function of finding the reciprocal of the given positive real number. Now we can find the derivative of our function. That's the derivative of our function. But this function also can be written as x power negative 1n minus n. So to find the derivative of this function, this one is the same as negative of xn minus 2. We just find the derivative of our function. So if this is the derivative, then we apply the Newton-Raphson method, which says that is applying Newton's Raphson method, which says xn plus 1 is equal to xn minus f of xn over f of xn dash. So that is our the general formula for Newton-Raphson method. So xn plus 1 will be equals to we have xn minus, now f of xn, that is your function we have, which is equal to that is 1 over xn minus n over, then it is the derivative. Derivative is negative xn power negative 2. So again, we are going to have xn that is negative divided by a negative that is a positive. So it will be plus. We have 1 over xn minus n. So again, we shift this one. It will be xn square, that is xn squared. So now we can open up the bracket by saying xn plus, now here we have xn squared times 1 over xn, which is going to be xn. Then again, xn squared times negative n, that is negative n xn squared. So here we are going to have, this is xn plus xn, which is 2 xn minus n xn squared. Therefore, xn plus 1 will be equals to, now xn here is common, so you can say xn out of the bracket. We are going to have 2 minus, so here we are going to remain with the xn, that is n xn, that is n n xn. Now this is the general formula for finding the reciprocal of a positive real number. So we say is the general formula for finding the reciprocal of a positive real number. Okay. Now let us see a question, a review question 2, which says find the reciprocal of 6 given that x1 is equal to 0.15. Use 2 iterations only and giving your answers correctly to 3 decimal place. So we have a question. So given find the reciprocal of 6, therefore n is equal to 6. So here n is equal to 6. And again we have x1 which is equal to 0.15. So x1 is equal to 0.15. Now remember we have the general formula for finding the reciprocal of a positive real number, which says xn plus 1. This one is equal to xn bracket of 2 minus n xn. That is our general formula. Now remember, n is 6 and x1 is equal to 15. So we can substitute these values in our general formula. But for first iteration, that is first iteration, we say n is equal to 1. So if n is equal to 1, we are going to have 1 plus 1, that is x2 is equal to x1 bracket of 2 minus n x1. So x2 will be equals to x1, that is 0.15 bracket of, then we have 2 minus, now our n is 6, so we have 6 times 0.15. Now we just take your calculator to compute the final answer. So by using calculator we are going to have this answer, that is 0.165. that is x2. Remember they said giving your answers correctly to 3 decimal places, so make sure to maintain the number of decimal places, that is to 3 decimal places. Now again for the second iteration, that is for second iteration, this time we say n is equal to 2. So here n is equal to 2. So we just substitute the value of n in our general formula for finding reciprocal of a positive real number. So that is 2 plus 1, it will be x3, which is equal to, now here we have xn, that is x2 bracket of 2 minus, we have n times xn, that is x2. So we just substitute now values for x2 and n. So here we are going to have x2, our x2, it is this one, that is 0.165 bracket of 2 minus, our n remain the same, so it is 6 times, again we have x2, that is 0.165. Now again, just take your scientific calculator to compute the final answer. So the final answer will be 0.167. That is x3. But again, remember to maintain the number of decimal places. That is to 3 decimal places. So our answer always that is to 3 decimal places. Now that is how to find the reciprocal of the given positive real numbers. So student, we proceed with the subtopic 2, that is the derivation of a second method. Now in this subtopic here we have a curve crossed by the straight line. Now this line that has a point C, B, A is called the second line because it crosses more than one point of the curve. So any line which intersect more than 2 points of the curve is called the second line. So line CBA, that is a second line because it crosses to point C and point A. Now let us find the slope of these points. Now since it is a straight line, therefore slope of CA will be the same as slope of BA. The slope of CA will be the same as slope of BA. Now what is the slope of CA? Now CA is the same as taking f of xn plus 1 minus f of xn. That is the same as y2 minus y1 over this time we have xn plus 1 minus xn. That is the same as x2 minus x1. That is the definition for a slope. That is for CA. Then for the case of BA, the slope of BA, again we take f of x plus 1 minus 0. This time we have 0. That is f of xn plus 1 minus 0. That is the same as y2 minus y1. Then over x2 minus x1. So x2 the same as xn plus 1. We call that is xn plus 1 minus. Then x1 will be xn plus 2. So here we minus xn plus 2. That is the definition for a slope. Just take a change in y over change in x. That is for CA. And for BA we do the same, change in y over change in x. Now let us do cross multiplication. That is cross multiplication. So we are going to have starting with f, that is f of xn plus 1 minus f of xn. Now this one times, we times by xn plus 1 minus xn plus 2. So this is equal to, then again we have xn plus 1 minus xn. This one times the function f of xn plus 1. Remember, our interest is to make xn plus 2 the subject. So in this point we can divide by f of xn plus 1 minus f of xn. So we just divide. So again here we just divide by f of xn plus 1 minus f of xn. So we do this if to both sides. So again here we divide by f of xn plus 1 minus f of xn. So in this case we can simplify this way. So we are going to remain with xn plus 1 minus xn plus 2, which is equal to, now in our right hand side we have xn plus 1 minus xn. Now this one divided by f of xn plus 1 minus f of xn. Now the whole thing times f of xn plus 1. Now again, remember, our interest is to make xn plus 2 the subject. So if that is the case, we can shift xn plus 2, or we can shift xn plus 1 in our left hand side. But remember we need xn plus 2 to remain positive. So we are going to have xn plus 2 as positive. So xn plus 1, we subtract with the expression which is in our right hand side. So that one minus we have xn plus 1 minus xn. Then over we have f of xn plus 1, that is f of xn plus 1 minus f of xn, then times f of xn plus 1, that is times f of xn plus 1. Now, my dear student, this is called the second method. So the derived here, this general formula is called the second method, is called the second method. So after having this general formula, let us see where we can apply our general formula. Let us have a question, that is the review question 3. That is the review question 3. Now the question says solve the function f of x is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 1 using second method in 2 iterations. Given that x1 is equal to 2 and x2 is equal to 3. Rounding, that is rounding all your calculations to 3 decimal places. Now that is your question. We are going to see how this formula is useful in such kind of equation. Now given, let us have a solution. We have given the function. We have the function that is f of x is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 1. But again, we have been given two values, x1 and the x2. So here x1 is equal to 2 and the x2 is equal to 3. We are supposed to use the second method to solve this quadratic function. Now, if we have x1, it is possible to find f of x1. That is, when x1 is equal to 2, so f of x1 will be equals to, so we just substitute value of x1 in our function. So that is 2 squared, that is 4, minus 2 times 2, that is 4 minus 4. So we are going to remain with negative 1 because it is 4 minus 4 minus 1. So we are going to have a negative 1. So again, we have x2, that is x2 is equal to 3. So if we have x2, it is possible to find the f of x2. That is f of x2. Why? Because we just substitute value of x2 in our function. That is 3 squared, that is 9. Then minus 2 times 3, so it is 9 minus 6. That is going to be 3. 3 minus 2, we are going to have 2. Now we have x1 and f of x1, x2 and f of x2. So now we can use our general formula. So first iteration, so we say first iteration, we say n is equal to 1. So when n is equal to 1, that is 1 plus 2, we have x3 is equal to, again, 1 plus 1, that is x2 minus bracket of, so again we have x2 minus x1 over f of x2 minus f of x1, then times f of xn plus 1, that is f of x2, that is f of x2. So we can substitute values we have. So x2 is 3. So here we have 3 minus bracket of, then again we have x2, that is 3 minus, we have x1, that is 2. So here minus 2 over f of x2, which is 2. So here we have 2 minus, that is f of x1, which is equal to negative 1. Then times f of x2. Now f of x2 again is 2. So this one is equal to 3 minus, here we have 3 minus 2. So we have 1 over, you have 2 minus 1, that is 3. But this one times 2. So this is 3 minus 2 over 3. So just use your calculator to find the final answer. So we have 3 minus 2 over 3. But remember, we write in decimal places. So we are going to have x3, which is equal to 2.333. So maintain the number of decimal places, that is to 3 decimal places. So this one 2, 3, that is 3 decimal places. Now that was for first iteration. Let us proceed for the second iteration. So for the case of second iteration, So we are going to have, that is second iteration. Is when this time n is equal to 2, that is n is equal to 2. So we substitute the value of n in our general formula. So we are going to have, that is x4, the same as 2 plus 2, 4, which is equal to x3 minus, then we have x3 again, minus, we have x2 over f of x3 minus f of x2, then bracket of f of x3, that is xn plus 1. So here we have x3, so it is possible to find f of x3. So if, that is, if x3 is equal to 2.333, now it is possible to find f of x3. So we just substitute the value of x3 in our function. So just use your calculator to find the value of f of x3. So f of x3 in this case will be equals to negative 0.222. That is f of x3. So again, we substitute in our formula. So x4 will be equals to, now we have x3. x3 is 2.333 minus bracket of, we have x3, again that is 2.333 minus, then we have x2. Remember x2 is 3, so here we have 3 over, so again we have f of x3. f of x3 is negative 0.222 minus f of x2. f of x2 is 2. So again we times by f of x3. So again is negative 0.222. So it is times again to use, it is a time to use your calculator to find the final answer. So just take your calculator and get the final answer. So here we are going to have the following answer. So x4 is equal to 2.399, but you can make approximation. So this one approximated as 2.4. So we can add 2 zeros to maintain the number of decimal places. So it will be 2.400. That is 3 decimal places. That is 3 decimal places. Now that is how to use our general formula, which is called the second method. Now, my dear student, we have seen the application of Newton-Raphson method by finding the square root of a positive real number, but again to find the reciprocal of a positive real number. And the last part was the derivation of a second method and how to use it by the previous review question. Now it is time for you to practice the numerical method questions, and here I have some few review questions for you. Question says, show that the iterative formula for solving the equation 2x squared minus 6x minus 3 is equal to 0 is xn plus 1 is equal to 2x squared plus 3 over 4xn minus 6. But again, in the second question, show that the equation (3x squared plus x 5 is equal to 0 has a real root between x1 and the x is equal to 2. Of course, here use So, my dear student, these are 2 questions. Make sure that you practice more questions on this topic of numerical method. Till next time, see you.
Uongozi wa Chuo Kikuu cha Mtakatifu Agustino Tanzania, tawi la Mbeya, unapenda kuwakaribisha wahitimu wote wenye sifa za kujiunga katika kozi mbalimbali zitolewazo na chuo. Chuo kinatoa kozi ya shahada ya juu ya elimu, yani postgraduate diploma in education, shahada ya kozi ya elimu, yani Bachelor of Arts with Education, shahada ya utawala wa biashara, Bachelor of Business Administration, na katika michepuo ya rasilimali watu, Human Resource, ugavi na manunuzi.